𝗟𝗏mine is the app you need to automate your mining rig. The automatic coin switching and power switching makes your rig even more profitable. You're up and running in 10 minutes, supporting over 250 coins. The app tells your rig what to mine and when to mine, increasing your profitability. Try it out for free for 7 days. Go to 𝗟𝗏mine.io. What is going on, miners, and welcome back to the Hobbyist Miner channel. Well, we're joined by a guest. Thanks for joining me, Django. What's going on, man?
How's it going, guys? I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So I invited him on today because if you guys don't know who this guy is, he owns his own mining farm and is running it all by himself and has been doing it for quite a few years now. And I was like, I want to talk to him about that. So Django, you ready to jump into some of that?
Oh, I'm ready.
All right. So let's set the stage a little bit for those that aren't familiar with your setup. So give us the rundown of your farm, kind of where is it located, you know, what state you're in, and then kind of give us the roster, give us the rundown of your setup so we can kind of better envision it a little bit.
Okay. So currently I have 2 buildings. One of them is really tiny, just here in Utah. And then my big one that has almost everything, 95% of everything, is down in Arizona.
Okay.
And I'm running quite a bit of stuff down there. I think I have about 1,500 𝗟𝗏70s, about 100 𝗟𝗏4000s, and then I have about 500 170HX cards, as well as like 2 ASICs. That's so you can envision a pretty big farm there. It's built up pretty big over the years, but yeah, that's what I got going.
So
right now.
okay, so you got 2 facilities, a small one and the big one. So kind of with your smaller one there, kind of give us the rundown there, because my understanding is that it's kind of in a partitioned off space of a larger warehouse of some sort. Is that correct?
Yeah. So it's pretty. I mean, I call it small, but it's like 800 amps though. So it's like that's bigger than most people full house.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's that's pretty small little space. It's only like 800 square feet. It's really tiny. It's just a corner little room. And I got 28 card rigs there. 28 card 3070 rigs and about 16 12 card 170HX card rigs there. And those aren't mine. Those are just I'm managing and hosting those for people, but I get paid for it. So.
Yeah, well, it's a good thing we didn't really point that out earlier. So some of these cards are customer hosted ones, some of them are yours in that regard. So then flipping down to your larger facility, you know, mostly GPUs, as you said, with 2 ASICs that are available there, 95% of that count of your farm in Arizona. What percentage of that is customer base and what percentage of that is personal farm?
I don't know. I've never really disclosed that before because I just like.
Oh, you don't have to. You don't have to. Okay.
Yeah, no, not like it's. I mean, I think it's good, but I mean, I would say that. So my business also owns several rigs, right? And so my business, my hosting business also owns several. So I would say between the business and myself, it's probably about 50%.
Okay. 50%. Fantastic. Fantastic. So in the past, before we kind of into this terrible bear market that's never ending, a lot of would it make sense to say that, you know, a lot of your customer rigs and contracts and business paid for your day-to-day operations for that other 50%? Is that correct?
Yeah. Because I never had to. I've always took the money I made from the hosting and the management to pay for the electric and everything. So all of my rigs were paid. I never paid for any electric on any of my rigs. It just came from that revenue coming from them. So yeah, and that always pays the rent and everything like that. So that's how I've always done things. And I mean, I did that from the start of 2021. So right before, so that was like right when the market started. I think Bitcoin was like 25,000. And that's when I started like hardcore going into hosting, because I knew that's what I wanted to do. Because there's always a bunch of people that want to get into mining, they don't know how to do it, and that's kind of where I was going for after that market right there.
Okay. So as a farm owner, you're also the operator. You're kind of doing everything. And I think, we as home miners, we look at that. We're like, oh, that's my dream job. Like, that's what I wish I could do and stuff like that. And I actually invited him on today to talk more specifically about some of the struggles that he runs into it running his own farm, running your own business there. So kind of let's just start there. I know this actually ties in very well with kind of what you've got going on more recently, but as much as everyone wants to be a farm operator and owner, what challenges do you run into?
So, I mean, a lot of the challenges you run into is probably the first thing is going to be finding a building, right? Because
Okay.
that's like the number one thing that's really hard to do. I found this one, but people say like, "Oh, you're lucky you found this building." I'm like, "I am," but at the same time, it's 6 hours away from where I live, so it's I
Yeah.
made some sacrifices to get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I do travel a lot to it. Um,
Am I
so
right
that's
that you sometimes sleep at your farm? Is that
Oh
correct?
yeah, yeah. I definitely
Okay.
sleep at the farm. I'm there all the time too, so I travel down and I sleep there. I haven't been sleeping there recently because since the AC is off, it's like it's insanely hot in there, so it sucks. Um, but once you get the building, then the next issue is going to be figuring out how to get the heat out, and I've been struggling with that recently just because when I got the building, it was my understanding that it was cool with AC, and I would never pay for AC, but the AC was free with the building, so that's
He
why.
actually ended up getting into an older, if you guys aren't familiar, only because I know this, he got into an older data center that was emptied. So the data center had cooling already built in. So hopefully that helps out a little bit.
Yeah, it already had the cooling built in, and the we worked out a deal with the landlord to where we paid per rig, and so the electricity is free with the lease. But they knew we were mining, right? We worked out a structure that would work for them and work for us. It allowed us to scale slowly there while and so we would benefit at the beginning and then they would benefit at the end because we'd be paying way more for that
Sure,
space
sure.
and it's worked out nice because of the merge and that's another reason why I did it is because I knew the merge was going to be coming up and I knew that I already experienced my first bear market that the profits weren't going to be here forever
Yeah.
and so I didn't want to be locked into a lease where I was going to be stuck paying a really high price so that's why I kind of did that
Yeah.
deal but
Yeah, well, a lot of these other farms that we hear out there, they're just over leveraged in that part. Now all of a sudden there's no profits coming in from crypto at all, or they have customers that want to power off, and then they're like, how do I pay my electric bill, or how do I pay my lease, or anything like that, and then they have to go ahead and close up shop. So I think you were smart in that avenue.
Yeah, so that's that. And the only reason I knew about that is because this was my second, like that was my first bull
Hmm.
market, but this is my second bear market, and I knew that profits were going to be down like a lot. So, and the merge it was like way down, but yeah. So I never built out anything for the heat, like because I was like,
Yeah.
oh, why bother? Because the AC is always going to be running, and I can run everything here without doing anything, and then all of a sudden the AC broke permanently and they're working on replacing it but it's very 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 expensive for them
Hmm.
and so I understand why it's taking so long and all that stuff so I'm just and they're working with me and I'm working with them it's just it's tough because I have like there's like very little money coming in from
Sure.
mining and from hosting and stuff right so I all the stuff I need to do costs a ton of money and so I'm just like do I
So
do it
right
do I
now,
wait?
right now in your situation with the air conditioning off, you've been trying to find air cooled solutions that just don't work in the facility you're in. You do have customers at
Yeah.
that facility. So are they okay with being off right now, or how's that relationship going?
Yeah, almost all of the customers are okay being off.
Okay.
Um, almost all of them are off. Some of them are on, but I lowered my fee to like the absolute
Okay.
bare minimum. But even with my and I'm just doing that to be nice to them. I'm not really making
Hmm.
any money off
Okay.
hosting. Um, but they're still in the negative, right? So it's like
Yeah.
they would pay me because my electric rate at the data center is not like because I pay per rig, and so that the
Yes.
electricity and like it's built in. So my electric rate
Hmm.
is if you include that, it's a little bit higher.
Hmm.
I think it comes out to be about like 12 cents per kilowatt. So,
Okay.
but that's
Got it.
including the lease, though. It's including my building, so it's like everything into one.
Yeah.
And so that's what I host at right now. And so it's not profitable. So but I don't
Oof.
charge them anything if they want it off.
Yeah.
So it's off. The landlord is letting me just mine for free right now, though. So
Yeah, I mean, it's
it's
a
still,
double-edged sword. The challenge is as you've talked about, like now you're kind of stuck because you're dealing with this like crazy amount of heat in there. You're in Arizona, which doesn't help out at all. Like, holy cow. And so, yeah, so as a farm operator in an owner currently in the bear market, what type of things are going through your mind right now? Are you looking at other facilities? Are you looking at selling any hardware? Are you looking at like downsizing at all? Or kind of what's in the works for you? Because, your biggest challenge now is you got these two facilities, but they're not fully operational.
yeah. So right now and I have been doing this for a couple months now. I've been looking for a new facility. Um,
Okay.
and there's two reasons for that. One, because the data center I have in Phoenix is almost full anyway. Like I
Hmm.
can probably do another, I'm like 80, 75% full. So I'm almost
Okay.
full anyway. And so I need another place. And also because this place is not really working out because of
Yeah.
the heating problem. And it's very difficult to beat the heat because it is in Arizona, so it's insanely hot outside. And it's
Hmm.
like I right now one of the things I'm struggling with is the intake because if I take air in from the outside is over 100 degrees, and
Yep.
so it's like, yeah, that's not really. I mean, I could kind of make it work, but it's not anywhere. I can't run at full capacity like I have been.
Sure.
So, um, but yeah, I'm really just focusing on a new building. I haven't been selling any hardware.
Okay.
Um, I've been actually buying. I actually bought an ASIC, but I haven't really been coasting and being patient for the
Okay.
market. I do think that profits are going to come back. I know profitability came back up quite a bit, like in March and April a little bit, and then right now they're down again. I think
Little
they're going to come back
tease.
up.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
think they're going to come back up and be a little bit profitable again in a couple months, and so I'm basically trying to make the data center work, like get it to where
Hmm.
it will be profitable when that time comes, because then I can make the money.
So
But
when you're
yeah,
looking at other facilities, I think probably one of your challenges is lease or rent. Is going to be a factor because I think I call it your unicorn situation now, where you're paying per rig is not traditional. It's not
yeah.
conventional. So I think that'll definitely be something. So when you're looking for a new facility now, what are some of the things you're looking for?
So I'm mostly looking for so before I did that lease like structure, and I was lucky that they even did that. I mean, most people wouldn't do that, but
Yeah. Yep.
and then they're working out good because they wanted someone in that building immediately, and they wanted to continue using it on the other side, and that our businesses worked out really good together. But I don't think I'm going to do a building like that in the future because I'm
Okay.
actually overpaying now, because I have so many rigs. And so
Yeah.
if I had that
Yep.
many at the beginning, and right now I'm basically looking for something with a lot of power, and I'm looking for something with cheap power, and I'm looking to either lease or I would love to buy a facility. I just don't have the
Mhm.
money. I'm trying to find an investor. I have a
Mm.
couple people interested, so I'm just like, if I can get someone coming in with me on a building, I have like I
Yeah.
can grow. I have so many people. I have like a list of people waiting to send me rigs, and I can't accept them because uh, I know I can't turn
That's
them
a
on. So
challenge. That's a challenge. Well, I think, and unfortunately, that first part, you're absolutely right. Like, you're in a unique situation where a lot of businesses don't have customers lined up waiting to work with you. Instead, you're in a situation where it's rough, where it's like, a traditional building is not built for airflow like what you're looking for. Now, I guess the question there is like, are you looking to do a cooled facility as well, or are you looking to go to typical air cooled at the next farm? And what are you envisioning?
air cooled because I'm not going
Okay.
to. I do not want to pay for the AC. Like I said, I would never.
Yeah.
If I had known that I should have done this. This was like the only mistake I made in this building was I just like we built out the stuff just right in the middle of the room, and
Yep.
so now it's super expensive to reroute the electricity to move the miners to be somewhere where it would be air cooled. We didn't do
Got
anything.
it.
I built it to only be AC'd, and I just never expect AC to go out like that. So the next facility when
Yeah.
we build it out, I'll build it out for air, and so that and because then
Okay.
you spend because building a facility costs tons of money, like the electrical
Yep.
and the thing. But it's like once we get the building and we have the dedicated budget for it, it'll
Yeah.
be built out properly.
Yeah.
I get so many comments and stuff on my videos about solutions to fix my heating problem. And
Yeah,
I
of
tell
course.
people, listen, I don't have the budget for any of this stuff. Like,
Yeah. Oh,
you have
sure. Sure.
$1,000. Like, what do you do with that? Like,
Yep.
a
He's
couple
a home
thousand bucks.
miner. He's a home miner, guys, but with a big mining farm facility.
Yeah,
That's pretty much what
exactly.
it is.
So the problem is I don't have like the only income I have coming in is from the miners being on and they're being on for free. So I am generating some money, but not all of them are on.
Yeah.
And so I'm basically making a few $1,000s a month, and that's so I can save it up and build something out. But that's otherwise I have to cash out my crypto because I'm not really, and I don't really want to do that. But
Sure.
I don't know. So
Sometimes you do what you got to do. I totally understand it. So talking about the facility, you're looking for a facility that you can retrofit out, you know, which is a pretty decent amount of renovations. You're not looking to like put up drywall and put bathrooms in and offices. You're looking to knock down walls to put in big exhaust fans or your intake walls and stuff. So I get that. So that makes it super unique because you're looking to rent or to lease versus own, which is totally, you know, owning would be so much easier if you had to do that with a building, but finding a landlord that's like,
yeah, I don't own this building either. So I have to like go through like, it's very annoying because it's not annoying and it is annoying. It's just because so that's the other struggle. Like people's like, oh, just do this. I'm like, well, I can't because they won't let me.
So talking about electric, you know, you said your second thing there was not only the building, but also electric. How is that hunt going for you? I mean, just because most of us are in that situation of trying to find cheap electric. Now, this is more in a commercial situation than in residential, and everybody says like, oh, commercial is so cheap, but I have found that's not always the case. So how is that hunt going for you?
It's going pretty good. I keep finding a bunch of facilities, and then it's a time consuming process, right?
Okay.
I thought I found this really good building out in Oklahoma. I've tweeted about it a couple times. It was a growing farm out there. They had an extra building. It was awesome, but so we went and looked at it. It was great. But then we got the quote for the electrical build out, and it was like $500,000 to build it out.
Holy cow!
We went
wow.
to two different electricians. Like we flew out there. We met with them. They had a meet up. Like it was all a huge process to do all this, right? And then, so we got the quotes, and it was like $500,000, and it was for a building that we would be renting. And I'm like, I'm not paying that for a building that we're gonna rent.
You're so blessed. You're so blessed by the data center having the electrical infrastructure mostly built out pre-existing. So yeah.
Well, yeah. So yeah, that was the struggle there. And so the building was pretty good. It was 4 cents, so it was really good power. And they had 1.5 megawatts or something like that. So it was very good, but that's not going to work out for that. So we're looking at other buildings. I found, and that was in Oklahoma. Right. I've looked and found other buildings in Missouri and in Ohio. I can find, and so it's just like calling them up and just, realtor doesn't know, like how much power does this building have? And the realtor's like, I don't know. And you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
No one calls and asks the realtor for that information, but. So that's what I'm trying to do. And then once I find a building, then I call the power company in the area and figure out what the power rate is. And so it's just a very long process. Like if I find the right building, it has to have enough power to make it worth it, especially if it's, far away from me. I'm going to be traveling to it. So it's got to have the power capabilities to do what I want to do. So that's really what I'm looking for. So I found a couple of really good ones. And I have this one that's like in the works, and I'm like,
"Ooh, that's good."
I don't want to jinx it because it's like I think this is the one. So,
don't say it. Don't say it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna talk about it all until it's like mine, like until I'm moving in or something, and then I'll do a video on it. But yeah, it's been a long process. But
that's crazy.
It's really good to find a building now because a lot of people aren't looking because in the bull market it was insane. Like people with more money than you would come in and buy, there's like, there's always going to be someone with more money and they're going to come in and take all the good buildings and you have nothing. So, that's why like right now there's like buildings everywhere.
Yeah, there's a lot of empty buildings right now, especially like after COVID and everything like that. And now with being more in a recession time period, You know, and I say COVID for those of you guys that aren't realizing, a lot of businesses went remote or closed up shop during COVID. So you have a lot, the industrial real estate industry is just in shambles. And then on top of that, now no one's really looking to spend that money. So I think lucky for you, there's lots of facilities out there, but now it's finding one that meets your criteria, which totally makes sense. Well, guys, we're going to wrap things up there. This was a lot of fun. 20 minutes flew by just kind of chatting about these things. I will leave a link down below to his channel if you guys are interested in following along his journey, checking out some of his videos of his struggles and his farm, as well as keep up to date with hopefully a newer farm in the near future. So thank you, Django, for joining me. I appreciate it.
Yep. I'll see you guys.